So our first assignment is going to be an introduction to you. You are going to create a single PDF or image, or if you want to, a docx of just like a brief intro, like a bio card of you. And this is going to just introduce yourself with a short bio, some work samples, and just some information about you. So it should include either a personal picture or an avatar or a logo of you or representing you. You should include your name and major, your medium or mediums of choice, social media handle if you want, totally optional, and then like a fact or two about you. You can create this using Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, Word, Google Docs, Slides, whatever is comfortable for you, but I will be showing you some stuff in Illustrator. So I'll show you guys my little bio card, which has my name at Wayne State University for digital art department. I work in digital art and design and new media art. My mediums are Blender, Illustrator, processing, and electronics. My YouTube handle, and then just some fun facts. I collect Nintendo handhelds, and I'm a dog person. And then I have just some quick clips of some recent work. So if you want, I do have this layout sample up on the discussion assignment. You can totally use this if you want, do something like this. You don't have to do anything like this. You have total creative control. Of course, like if you're a person who likes very strict guidelines to work, or if you don't like working with strict guidelines, it doesn't really matter, as long as you include this content. So let's get into Illustrator and just make a new file. So I'm just gonna create an artboard that is in letter size. It is in landscape, and I also am in RGB color mode because this is for screens. I'm not printing this out, but if you were, CMYK, create. All right. So let's full screen this. All right. So we have our artboard, which is like our canvas, our workspace. Your Illustrator might not look like mine, and that's okay. You can always go to Window and select some of the tools that you want in your interface. So just FYI, if there's something missing from your screen that I'm doing, that's how you would pull it up. So a couple of the important tools you should know. The rectangle tool creates, of course, rectangles, squares. If you hold Shift, you will get a square. In properties, of course, you can select what color you want it to fill it. If you want a stroke on the outside, we don't for this case. And if you want to round the corners, we will be doing some app design, and so this is a must know to round the corners. And then to duplicate something, of course, you can copy and paste, but you can, while having your selection tool active, hold Option for this little double arrow to show up, and while holding Option, click and drag. Release the mouse, then release Option. So that's a really easy way to duplicate things. Another kind of important thing to know is creating paths. And you can create paths a couple ways. You can use these path creation pen tools. You can use the pencil tool, which is, where's pencil tool at? Here. So pencil tool will allow you to just kind of draw freehand. And then the path editing tool allow you to edit those paths. As well as these two path tools. So just a couple options for you. So we're just going to put those to the side. Another important thing to know is the clipping mask tool. So say I have an image here. Well, we'll just use this as the image or the shape, it doesn't matter. And I want to, you know what, we will use an image because that will make the most sense. So to place an image, file, place, I have this image, and I'm going to make a path over it. Boom. And I'm going to give it a fill, but when I'm using a clipping mask, I like to also lower the transparency so I can see what is going to be clipped and what is not. So a clipping mask essentially takes the path of the object on top and it applies it to the object below. And it doesn't warp the image beneath it, but rather just cuts out everything that is not part of this path. And I'll show you what I mean. So everything selected, I can go up to Object, Clipping Mask, Make, or the hotkey would be Command 7. And boom, now I have an image that has been, the edges have been clipped out. So if you're familiar with the mask tool in Photoshop, it's kind of the same idea or similar idea. And we can right click, release that. So I'm going to duplicate this for one more demo. And just in case I need it later. I'm going to arrange and throw this in the back so everything can go on top of it. And let's do something like that. So I have this blue on top of this image, and with my blue box selected, I can go into my transparency, change the blend mode to any of these types. Definitely something that you're welcome to experiment with and see like what works, what doesn't. Just kind of a fun idea or fun like kind of creative tool. And it only works with what is below it. So again, we have to transform, send to back. And now I have this exclusion blend mode over both of these. Cool. So, I think those are some important basics for you guys to know. One more thing that I might mention is the shape builder tool. So I should have my shapes both selected, and this combines the two paths that I made previously into one path. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you guys kind of import your images, clip them to, an interesting shape. Use a blend mode if you want. Of course, you can always lower the opacity. Just some interesting things you can do. So finally, we want to export this, and we can save a copy as a PDF. If you have multiple artboards, you can use specifically which artboard you want to export as a PDF. You can also export as a PNG. And when you select export PNG, you have the option to creating a transparent background or a black background. This is really nice if you're creating assets for other files. If the transparency is really important if you're creating for other files, or if you're using something that would end up in a 3D mesh. Just some things to keep in mind. So save as a copy for PDF, export as, and you can also export as a JPEG, a Photoshop file, a TIFF. Of course, it's totally up to you. So just some basics on how to get a file started, getting shapes in, getting images in, and some quick and easy editing techniques for this assignment. So cool.